All right, folks, this is your first time on the Law Text channel, then welcome. And if you've been here before, then thanks for coming back. I'm Special Agent Gary Aschenbach. I'm a senior federal polygraph examiner. I've conducted over 1,300 polygraph examinations and over 700 separate personal interviews. And I continue to practice a myriad of interview and interrogation skills that I'm going to be sharing with you. I'm a former college adjunct instructor and was published in Professional Investigator magazine on the topic of interview and interrogation. Now, in our last video, we discussed the importance of employing quality human relations as a way to ease the path for interviewees to ultimately confess. Now, today, we're going to be discussing the technique of theming, which is going to grease the skids even more for the interviewee to ultimately give you that confession. So, what is theming? Theming is, simply put, it's giving the person an acceptable reason, not a legal reason, for having engaged in a particular act. So, in other words, it's giving them justification for their wrongdoing while allowing them to save face and not feeling so bad about themselves. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. What do you care about how they feel? They committed that heinous crime. They should feel bad. Well, you might be right, but by them feeling bad about themselves, it is not going to help you obtain that confession. Remember, people only confess to people who they like. And if they're not happy with themselves, they're not going to feel prepared to give you that secret information that you so desperately seek. So, what we're going to do is we are essentially going to blame someone or something else that may have caused them to commit the act. That someone might be a spouse, a partner, a friend, a politician, even a child, or some other person who has an influence on that interviewee. Alternatively, a something that caused the action might be alcohol, peer pressure, human nature, finances. Whatever it may be, your goal is to find that someone or something who the person of interest feels comfortable blaming as the cause for their behavior. And then we're going to use that to allow them to save face, or rather maintain their dignity or their feeling of importance. Remember, no one wants to think of themselves as bad people. Heck, not even Al Capone, Two Gun Krell, or even Charles Manson saw themselves as bad people. So, with that, what does this look like in action? Well, let's suppose, for example, that person X is suspected of using illegal drugs. Now, during the interview, at that key moment, you're going to theme them by saying something along the lines of, "Look, John, I know there were a lot of people there that night, including Mary, all of whom you were trying to impress, and you just wanted to fit in. Now, I also understand that alcohol was being consumed, and as studies have shown, alcohol makes us do and think in ways that we wouldn't normally. And so, while you were drinking that night, is it possible that the alcohol was responsible for causing you to use that drug? Just a spur of the moment decision, and you just made a mistake. Who hasn't? Is that right, John? I mean, you wouldn't normally do that, but it was the alcohol that altered your way of thinking, and you just kind of gave in. In addition to that, with the significant peer pressure that you were exposed to, I mean, anyone could understand how you could have fallen victim to the circumstances and used that drug, and just like that, you've helped the interviewee realize that they made a mistake, which is acceptable. All the while, you took the blame and you moved it onto alcohol, moved it onto peer pressure, taking it off of them, which the alcohol and the peer pressure, that's really at fault for making him or her do what they did in the first place. Now, it depends on the case, as alternative themes will be used for certain cases. But in any case, this is an extremely powerful tool for eliciting that confession. Now, before I go into any interview, I always recommend having at least 3 prepared themes ready before you walk in there, which you can then use immediately to employ whenever you're ready. Now, keep this in mind. If they don't like a theme, move on to another one. Reason being, if they're not buying that particular theme and you repeatedly use it, it could irritate them to the point that they get angry, or they might want to terminate the interview, or they might even ask for their lawyer. We had one officer in one particular case, he told us that he had mistakenly tried moving the blame to the ex-spouse. And in doing so, the interviewee said, "Don't blame my children's mother." Now, after repeatedly blaming the ex, the interviewee finally yelled, said, "I told you, don't blame my children's mother. And at that, I want my lawyer." It was at that moment that the interview had ended. So the officer, he admitted he made a mistake, but hopefully we can all learn from that. And that's a good thing. So again, theming is giving an acceptable reason, not a legal reason, for them engaging in a particular act. It allows the person to maintain dignity and feel less responsible. So as you can imagine, at certain times after asking that quality question during your interviewee, the interviewee may seem to hesitate or even stall. So the question becomes there then, what do you do with that quiet time? Well, in our next interview, in our next video, we will share how to make silence your best friend. But until then, go ahead and subscribe to the channel to learn more tips to elicit truthful information from a person of interest. I also invite you to follow us. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter using the handle at LAWTECHLLC. And if you have a video suggestion or a question, please, by all means, email me directly. My email address is garyjr@law-tech.net. Remember, Law Tech Consultants, we've been providing I&I training since 1998, both inside and outside the United States. We are the only firm who teach both forensic behavioral analysis, it's the reading of body language, and forensic statement analysis, not handwriting analysis. It's two separate classes that we teach in one so that you learn twice as many tools in one class to further enhance your ability to identify truth and deception just like the pros. So with that, we will see you next time. Stay safe out there. God bless.